Hello, parents and children. I am Sarah, and this is
Hello.
Ella, and we are going to be starting a new video series that is going to be focused on you helping your child make certain speech sounds. So we're going to be teaching you how to help make some of those sounds and show you how to teach your child. So first sound that we are going to be working on in this series is the R sound. And we're going to be running through this pretty quickly today just to keep it short for you and honor your time. But we're going to give you a few quick strategies that we like to use in therapy and some strategies that your therapist might be working on during their time with your child, and then you can carry it over at home. So in order to make our R sound, we first have to talk about where in the mouth that our R is made. And so Ella, if you can make an R sound and then try to figure out how your tongue is moving to make that sound. What is your tongue doing, or where's it at in your mouth?
It's back here.
Okay, so it's back further in your mouth. And if you think about it, when you say is your tongue up or down in your mouth?
Down.
Your tongue is down. What part of your tongue is pointing down?
Down right here.
The front of your tongue is pointing down. And what about the back of your tongue? What's it doing?
Going up.
It's lifting up. Okay, so Ella is making a bunched R where she is pulling her tongue tip down, and the back or the blade of her tongue is moving up. And usually that blade comes up between our back molars. So it's always important, if the kids are old enough, that you talk about where their tongue placement is first, because sometimes that's all they need, is just that little reminder or that little knowledge that their tongue has to move up and back in their mouth. Because if their tongue is forward in their mouth, it turns into what sound? What? That could be, or L. L is another one that may be created if their tongue is too forward in their mouth, or W. And sometimes when a kid makes an R sound, they are trying to use their lips. W. And it comes out as a W sound, like that wascally wabbit we've all heard Elmo Fred. But in reality, we don't really need our lips all that much to make our R sound. There are certain vowel R's that we will use our lips for and change that position. For the most part, our tongue does the work. So let's get started. All right, Ella, I want you to say rabbit, only say it with your lips instead of your tongue.
Rabbit.
Say it with just your lips.
Rabbit.
There you go. Okay, now that's an arid R that we hear a lot. Now I want you to take your lips out of it, and I just want you to smile and say rabbit.
Rabbit.
There you go. That was a little bit closer. Now move your tongue to where it needs to be.
Rabbit.
And say it again.
Rabbit.
That was better. So your lips really don't even need to do a whole lot of work, especially for R at the beginning of words. So when we're teaching kids, we always start with just the letter sound, because if they can't make the sound themselves, it's going to be really hard to put it into words. So Ella, I just want you to make your R sound all by itself, just like you're starting a car engine. And sometimes it's a little over exaggerated at first, right? All right, now I want you to make your R like you are a pirate.
R.
R, good. And that is one of our vowel R sounds. So Ella can do her R with vowels even. All right, how about or?
Or.
Good, an ear.
Ear.
An ire?
Ire.
Air.
Hair.
Good. Now we're going to put it on the vowels on the other end, and we're going to start with our R and move to a vowel. How about ra?
Ra.
Re.
Re.
Ro.
Row.
Try again.
Row.
And rye.
Rye.
Very good. Ella even has her R at the beginning of vowels. So, or at the beginning of syllables, excuse me. So now we are going to practice with the tongue depressor as if Ella is not able to say her R's yet. So Ella, I want you to use your lips to say that R sound again.
Wabbit.
There you go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tongue depressor and I'm going to show her tongue exactly where it needs to be to make the R sound. So Ella, I want your tongue to go up here between your back teeth. Now try it again.
Rabbit.
That was much better. Some children, about 30 to 40% of the population, will automatically make their R sound with their tongue tip curled up and back, and that's called a retroflex R. So you try it. I want you to take your tongue, put it up to the top of your mouth. Now scoop it back like you're going to scoop peanut butter off the top of your mouth. There you go. Does it feel funny when you do it that way?
Yeah.
That's because that's not how you're used to doing it. However, it is easier for some people to do it that way. And even some of our therapists in our clinic make their R's retroflex. And sometimes that's an easier way to teach your kids because it is a little bit more visual. Now, I'm going to hold this tongue depressor in your cheeks here, and I want you to bite it. There you go. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to make your R sound. Make sure that your tongue does not touch your tongue depressor. It needs to be behind the tongue depressor. So try it.
Rabbit.
Good. Now try to say wabbit with your tongue depressor in there.
Rabbit.
It's a little harder, isn't it? Because your lips can't move very well. Now, I want you to make your R sound, only this time I want you to put your tongue on the stick.
Rabbit.
No, put your tongue on top of the stick.
Rabbit.
That doesn't sound like an R. Now put your tongue behind the stick again.
Rabbit.
Much better. So that is one technique that we can use for kiddos who aren't quite ready to use their R with just knowing where to place their tongue or just that touch cue. Sometimes we can actually manipulate that tongue a little bit to make sure that they're making that sound. We're going to try one last technique here. Ella, I want you to make your R with your lips again.
Rabbit.
All right, now I'm going to touch her tongue tip to cue it to go down in her mouth, just the tongue tip, so that she can try to lift that back up a little easier.
Rabbit.
Now do it again, but your back needs to touch your back teeth, the back of your tongue.
The back of my tongue.
Uh-huh.
Rabbit.
Do it again. Scoot your tongue back and make a normal R.
Rabbit.
Try it again.
Rabbit.
There you go. So I had to keep pushing her tongue back a little bit further because she was trying to push the stick out of her mouth, because it's kind of weird to talk with a stick in your mouth, isn't it?
And
Yeah.
it tastes disgusting.
Tastes disgusting. It should taste like cherries. That's not so disgusting. All right, so there are a few tips and tricks for using your R sound with your kids and helping to teach them. If you don't have a tongue depressor at home, because most of you probably don't, I don't, you can use a pencil. You could use a straw. Same concept, just make sure that their tongue is not touching that object. The focus is to get that tongue back as far as they can. Just like that. I don't know how clean that pen is, but yes, just like that. Always practice R first in isolation, meaning all by itself. See if they can even make that sound by itself. If it still sounds like whoa, that means their tongue is too far forward, and you just need to keep asking them to scooch it back. Once in a while, I'll even give kids a little pat on the back of their neck and ask them to reach their tongue all the way back to my finger, just to kind of give them another tactile cue that they need to reach for. And that helps a lot too. For those really, really hard to get kids, difficult to get those R's in, we may even have them lay on the floor on their back so that their tongue is automatically falling back into the back of their throat until they can kind of feel that a little bit better and make it a bit more naturally. If you have any questions about how to teach your kids how to make their R sound, again, there are many different vowel R's and positions that we haven't talked about, but these are just some basic strategies that you can go off of without seeing your therapist or at home when you're practicing without your therapist. So if you have any questions, please, please, please email me at Sarah, S-A-R-A-H, at ColoradoSpringsSpeech.com, and we will be happy to answer any questions that you might have or give you any extra tips. Do you have anything else to say before we say goodbye?
Nope.
All right, then. Have a very blessed rest of your weekend, and we will see you next week.